Welcome to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl. Thank you for tuning in with us today. You're probably wondering, who is this person? Yeah, me. And what is this program about, right? Well, I'll begin with who I am. I'm Dr. Cheryl, PhD. I'm an author, mentor, mother, entrepreneur, and speaker, and wife-to-be. I'm a fourth-generation Californian, and my father's family come from the Mother Lode, Angels Camp, the gold country. My father was an engineer with Boeing. When I was 5, we moved up to Bellevue, Washington. And my brother was a world-class athlete in Europe, and he was 5th in the 100-yard dash. My family also has another legacy with history, with our country. My mother's side of the family, my ancestor Charles Coatsworth Pinckney, who was English, obviously, who worked alongside George Washington, had many honors, including he signed the Constitution, he started the first Bible Society in the United States, and he was an ambassador to France, among many other things. These were a huge influence on me in my approach to life, especially now. I started working when I was 10, babysitting. At 14, I started working with my family's business for about 8 years. During this time, while I was in high school, I worked for Sears and Roebuck, opening a new store and working in the bank of the store. After high school, I received an apprenticeship with Seattle First National Bank, which is now Bank of America. I stayed in banking for 4 years. I moved back to California when I was 21. After working as a controller for a couple years, I began my own accounting and tax planning business, which lasted for 17 years in the Bay Area. I have that true entrepreneurial spirit. I had clients in construction, manufacturing, medical, and law. I became a single parent during this time. And when my daughter was 8, I went back into the corporate world. Whew. I worked with companies such as Robert Half International and Sutter Health in construction company and real estate companies. I gained a lot of team experience. However, almost every company that I worked with were out of GAAP. GAAP is the generally accepted accounting principles. I would inevitably have to quit or be forced to leave. Since I would not play those games, the last corporate employment I had was a real estate company for which had some integrity issues, and they fired me for bringing it to light. I filed a lawsuit and I won. In this time period, I was led to write about the deep value system and spiritual awareness that was missing in the corporate world and in the private sector. This was a time in 2008 when Bernie Madoff was in his major Ponzi scheme was unfolding. This was the worst fraud in U.S. history. $65 billion was scammed, and with his own cultural people to boot. It's so sad. And the aftermath of Madoff was that his son commits suicide, which is so sad. Another example is Enron, another white-collar crime. The government deregulated and they misrepresented their earnings by $70 billion. This is plain and outright greed and embezzlement, lack of consciousness, totally unconscionable in their acts. Then they decided that they'd start the Sarbanes-Oxley Tax Reform Act in 2002 was also established for standards of financial reporting to be implemented. However, this new standard doesn't mean a thing if it's not enforced. There's still corruption in companies surfacing almost every day. I'm really tired about hearing about it, reading about it, but it needs to surface for the exposure to change, a big time change. I read almost every day about more frauds, not just in the US, but in China, India, and now the latest is Barclays CEO, Mr. Diamond quit. He was forced to because it was his relatedness to the rate fixing. And that was about $20 million. I'm only mentioning these situations because these huge company leaders are lacking spiritual principles, to say the least. There are other companies that follow suit, like Quest, WorldCom, AIG, Lehman Brothers, etc. This is totally a lack of applied spirituality. This is a breach of metaphysics. But then I have a lot to say and inform you about that on this subject in the upcoming segments. With all these facts and with my own experience in education, which is I have my BS in business administration, my MBA in finance, and my PhD in financial management and business administration. I became a minister in 1998 as a commitment to my spirituality. I wanted to weave my accreditations and my spiritual practice. One is to lead by example, right? On a positive note, there's an exemplary company that I want to share, Google. It's leading as far as integrity and their employee benefits. Like, they give free haircuts. They have a gym, a swimming pool, billiards, they have laundry facilities, and they even have a medical staff. They also allow and this is the best, they allow their employees to pursue 20% of their time to special projects. This is pure awareness and an example of spiritual principles from the top down. With this positive reinforcement, the employees work harder and they have more pride and they feel valued. You're probably wondering, so what is this show about, right? Well, Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl and Wealth Transformation is about informing viewers of being conscious and applying spiritual principles to their everyday life and especially money. Most people don't even like talking about money because of fear, thinking there's not enough, or a lack of it due to shame by how one acquires it and how they spend it. Another one of my wealthy mentors has said to me, he said he feels guilty for having too much. What a problem, huh? We want to help break through these barriers with these kinds of mental thoughts. You know, I tried to find some good money jokes, and there aren't too many out there to be found without being politically incorrect. I will keep searching for good ones, though. If you have any to share, please let me know so I can have some joy and laughter, so we can all have some joy and laughter. We need to laugh more. Did you know that there's more than enough money circulating on this planet for all of us, 7 billion of us, even the babies in Africa and India, to have their possession of $8 to $10 million apiece? Let me repeat that. $8 to $10 million apiece. Shocking, isn't it? Well, this is a reality, and it's out of balance. And the top 2% have the mentality and the consciousness for the lion's share of this money. I will talk about that in the upcoming segments. Deepak Chopra says spirituality is self-awareness. I love Deepak's teachings. Don't you want to be more self-aware, to be free? What is your dialogue, your internal dialogue and monologue about your money? Are they positive or negative? Are they self-defeating? In this program, we are taking a look at these fundamental beliefs. We have practical tips to share about respecting money. It is an energy, a transfer. That saying about money's the root of all evil, well, that's a lie. It's a misnomer. It's the person with the money that has the evil or the greed intentions, a lack of self-awareness and love. The first awareness and practice that I want to share with you is love yourself unconditionally. Warren Buffett says, he is one of the richest men on this planet. He says, have no doubts and have unconditional love. The support of your family and your friends. Well, the no doubt part, it takes mental discipline applied with spiritual principles to perpetually have this as a habit. Don't you want to be free? Free mentally and emotionally, financially? I sure do, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. Are you too stubborn? I know I have been, in a way that is not helping you grow. To be free, be grateful for what you have, and then you will be able to handle much more wealth. We want to focus on the big picture of wealth transformation and then break it down into the details so we can help you, the daily practice, so you can get this from the core of your being. Do you really respect your money? How do you carry it? Do you crumple it up? Do you leave it laying around? Do you lose it? Do you put it somewhere you forget where it is? I'll show you what I do with my bills and my change. I do carry a $1 million bill in my wallet. But what I do is I have all my bills facing the same direction. It's just to show respect. And I always keep my change in one place. So I say, wake up to your spiritual awareness and your integrity with your money and wealth and your health. If you do not have your healthy, mindful thoughts, you will not have a healthy body. So come from love in everything you do. And the most important is your family relationships, all your relationships. Please do yourself a favor, especially you women out there. Write on your bathroom mirror, I love myself unconditionally. And leave it on your mirror for at least 28 days. It works. Thanks for staying with us. And we will appreciate any feedback you have on our new show. We will have some very special guests on, most of all, on the upcoming events. We have a pretty special guest that has the last name of Oz coming on. I will leave it to your imagination. Started talking about fear with money and wealth, not having enough. In your mental thoughts, well, no matter what, if you think you don't have enough, you won't. And this can be the beginning of bringing it to your conscious and your mindfulness with a spiritual approach to wealth. Change your thoughts and change your life. Write it down. Especially write it down so you can get this from your right brain and your left brain. Wake up to your spiritual awareness with your money and your wealth. Spiritual awareness is self-awareness. This is quoted from Deepak Chopra. I discipline myself to say to myself, in my own thinking process, I have more than enough for what I need as easily and effortlessly. That's my mantra. This should be imprinted in your unconscious mind so it becomes conscious and heartfelt. And okay, the biggest key is attitude. Your attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. What is your attitude with money and wealth? Your old programming from your childhood and how you think about money from your caregivers and teachers, they may have taught you wrong for being abundant and wealthy. And how you think about money. Have you taken an inventory on your thoughts around that? Your relationship with money? Money is energy. I know I wasn't taught properly, even though I was raised in an upper middle class community. It all starts with your primary caregivers, whether teachers or whatever. You have to want to change. Do you want to change? Or are you too lazy and complacent, or just comfortable? Sorry, I don't mean to offend you or anyone. Well, we have a very special guest tonight, and his name is Sanjay Soni. Thank you, Sanjay, for joining us.
Thanks for having me here, Cheryl.
Well, Sanjay lives in San Francisco, and I'd like to give you his background to start with. Sanjay is originally from India and is an American citizen. Sanjay finished his Bachelor of Arts in Economics with honors from Delhi University in India and went on to England and completed his Bachelor of Science with honors in mathematical economics and econometrics. I hope I said that right.
Econometrics.
Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry.
That's okay.
From the London School of Economics. And then, wow, all of this is so impressive. And I haven't even finished. He went on to finish his Master's of Arts in Economics from University of Essex in England. And then he moved to the US and graduated from J.L. Kellogg Graduate School of Management at Northwestern University in Illinois with a Master's of Management of Finance. He was a chartered analyst, financial analyst, CFA, and is retired and was a member of the CFA Institute from 1988 to 2010. His career has been in the investment industry for over 20 years. He has a true entrepreneurial spirit with strong negotiating, fundraising, and team building skills. He was the director of risk analysis and chief economist for the Chicago Board of Trade Clearing Corporation, and then the global head of market risk at Barclays Global Investors, BGI. And boy, I need to catch my breath with all these accolades. And then later, he was the director of product strategy for BGI. During this time, he was involved as a founder and founding member of several startup companies as he obtained his professional financial success and traveling the world. He felt and continued to have an emptiness inside. He had a craving for more out of life. He was a typical A-type personality, aggressive, driven, and bulldozing all obstacles in his path. Peace and happiness eluded him. He started to ask, who am I? What's my purpose in life? He didn't rest in peace. So he began his quest for the meaning of life. He took a train ride to Vancouver, BC, and on to Lake Louise. He read Meditation by Eknath Easwaran. This put him on the path to studying Vedantic and Buddhist scriptures. He discovered the depth of his transcending spirituality, which has led him to the pure inner state of being, devoid of anxieties, doubts, irritations, frustrations, and anger. He surrendered to complete faith in the cosmic intelligence. This is his ultimate freedom and empowerment. And in closing, Sanjay says, you can talk about happiness, you can read about happiness, or you can just be happy. Wow, again, he is such a wonderful model and inspiration. What is your mental and heartfelt approach to wealth now?
Okay, I think we need to understand what wealth really means. Wealth signifies resources. So, even your energy, or you might think about your house or money or any assets that you have. These are resources. The purpose of a resource is that you use it to get something which you really want. For example, you may have a lot of money, but you use the money to get something. There's a quote, and I don't remember who said it, but it says, you're rich not by what you have, but what you can do without. So, one of the things about wealth is you have wealth, and what are your desires? What you want to do with that wealth go hand in hand. So, for example, Mahatma Gandhi died with not a penny to his name. But in my opinion, he was the richest man living at that time. So, we need to understand wealth and desires together. Now, we can break the desires down into two components, our needs and our wants. So, for example, we need to drink water. We don't really need to drink the finest wine to survive. That is a luxury, that's fine. But if we need nutritious, healthy food to eat. We need a comfortable bed to sleep. We don't need a mansion to live in. Once our needs are taken care of, then come the wants. And so my view of wealth is that the resources are meant primarily to satisfy my needs so I can survive and do well in life enough to pursue my spiritual aspirations. So that if I don't get food to eat or I'm not sleeping well, I don't think I can pursue my spiritual aspirations. So the wealth is important to provide enough for me so that I can go for the higher values and higher aspirations in my life. That's what I think about wealth.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure.
How, or maybe it hasn't impacted, but with the economy that's been going on for about 4 to 5 years, has it impacted you, or maybe it hasn't?
Well, financially, my portfolio took a dip in 2008, but that I'm an investment manager, so I know exactly what this is all about. So the money will keep going up and down, but I'm a prudent investor. I live my life very disciplined manner, so that I don't live my life in such a way that my financial or my desires come in the way of my living a full, rich life. So as opposed to either chasing money or trying to fulfill all desires and wants you have, and think that you're going to get happiness from that, mindfulness and awareness suggests that you understand the nature of our desire, the nature of the material things. Yes, if you have the money and you want to enjoy something, fine. But if you start chasing it, there's no end to it. So, my money will keep going up and down, but it doesn't impact me, not because of the money not being impacted, it's my attitude to how I live my life.
Thank you. That's good. How do you think that wealth and spiritual values go hand in hand, or do you think that they really do?
This will require a little bit of a lengthy answer.
Good.
So the first thing we need to understand, spirituality is a word which is used, it's a very hackneyed, cliched word. People use it very flippantly. Like you read about Deepak Chopra, spirituality is awareness. So think about this way. If I am living in Marina in San Francisco and I think, someone asks me, where do I live? I say, I'm in the Marina. But when someone in India asks me, where do I live? I say, San Francisco or California. Okay. But when someone asks me in San Francisco, where do I live? I say, Marina. So the issue out here is, spirituality is a perspective. From an Indian perspective, I'm living either in USA or in California, San Francisco. No one in India really cares whether I'm living in Marina or Pacific Heights, and so on and so forth. So our perspective is very important when we talk about spirituality. Awareness means that we've taken this, imagine you're in your little town, little house, and so on and so forth, and you're living your life. Now just for a brief moment, close your eyes and just picture taking a space shuttle and going out in the space, and then capturing the image of the Earth. Do you really think your house or your plumbing or your backyard is really going to be that important there? No. Even USA or Canada or China or India, meaning even those countries are not important. All you see is Earth as a whole. And most astronauts who go there and have this visual image of the Earth, they come back changed, because they realize that when you're out there, you're an Earthling. You're not an American or a Chinese or Japanese or whatever. You're an Earthling.
So it's like a broader perspective.
It's the highest perspective you can go. Even from the Earthling, your perspective is that of Earth. But the spiritual perspective is something which sees the things beyond the physical and the mental constructs of things. So a spiritual perspective will see things beyond the words of good and bad, beyond the perspective of what is happiness, what is sorrow, what is pleasure, what is pain. It sees things just the way they are without attaching mental constructs or concepts or labels to them. So, from the spiritual perspective, if you think broadly, this whole cosmos is just the way it is. Now, once that spirit kind of gets manifested into a physical existence, the physical existence requires to be taken care of.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Sure.
I will leave you with this. Only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. By Robert F. Kennedy. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Until the next time.